Hello my beautiful friends, welcome back to another video. If you're already part of the family here, you will already know that my name is Gabrielle Danelle and we talk all things beauty here while going skin deep. I want to share with you guys some thoughts that I've been having about summer and curls, right? We go through our summers and we, braid our hair, similar to how my hair is braided right now, or we put our hair in some other kind of protective style. We go to the beach, we go to the pool, we do so many different things, and a lot of the time, in my own experience, my hair has experienced a lot of breakage and stress because of the things I chose to do with my hair. So of course there are some common mistakes that we often make with our hair over the summer, and this is really no fault of our own. It's just something that's easier, something that is less stressful. When you're hot, when you're sweating, when you're going through the day-to-day in the summer, the last thing you want to be doing is be stressing about your hair. So I get you. Summer is not the ideal time to be worried about hair, especially when it poofs every 2 seconds. I want to talk to you guys about some mistakes that I've made and maybe some mistakes that you're making regarding your hair over the summer. The very first mistake that we often make with our hair over the summer, guys, is putting it in way too many protective styles. What I mean by this is that a lot of the times we end up using braids or twists or whatever the case may be with our hair, high manipulation styles with our natural hair, thinking that it's protecting it when in reality it's not. So a prime example of this is last summer when I chose to do passion twists on my hair for the first time, is that I went in with braiding and twisting and putting it in the style, and I didn't really do what I needed to do in order to nourish my hair during that time that it was in that style, and I just slapped it in these little twists with extensions, I might add, and I didn't provide any sort of deep conditioning. I didn't really, add any serum that would help with the hydration of my hair. I was going to the beach, I was in the water, I was in the pool with these twists, and I had them in not even for 2 weeks, and guys, my hair was crisp once I took those things out. It took me 3 hours to remove. It was a mess. My hair broke in so many different places because of it, and I think this is something that often happens with our hair when we keep them in protective styles without doing it in the right way. The second mistake that we often make is not deep conditioning enough. In the summer, it can be a little bit different because we don't really think that our hair is drying out the same way that it does in the winter. In the winter, I feel like, me personally, I am very cautious of the colds. I'm very cautious of the effects that the cold may have in my hair, which is why I end up deep conditioning a lot over the winter. But when it comes to the summer, I don't really think that I need to deep condition as much as I do in the winter because of the fact that it's so humid and sticky, and the last thing you're thinking of is hydrating your hair. But in reality, in the summer, our hair needs that hydration that we often give it in the winter. A huge aspect to why we can end up causing damage to our hair over the summer is if we're not deep conditioning enough, if we're not using DIY masks, if we're not using the right products that are for hydration in our hair. So that's one thing I would definitely recommend for all of us with natural hair out here, is that during the summer to make sure to condition your hair. The third mistake we often make, I know I made this mistake so many times, but that is to be in the sun way too much. Did you guys know, honestly, because I definitely did not know up until recently, that hair can actually be burned by the sun. For years, for so many summers, especially as a kid, I would be out in the sun, I would be out and about at the pool, at the beach, or whatever, and I wouldn't really do anything to protect my hair when I was in the sun. I would pretty much just go out in the sun, and I actually thought that the sun was good for my hair because I liked the way the natural highlights in my hair would start to come out after being in the sun. But this eventually led to my hair being very crisp, very fried, almost as bad as like heat damage, and I'm telling you, it's not cute. So that's one thing for sure you want to be careful of, is to avoid that sun exposure on your hair, much in the same way that we do with our skin. I have a great post up on my blog for you guys to check out on ways that we can avoid sun damage in our hair, so make sure to check that out. That will be linked in the bio description below. The fourth mistake we often make is not cleansing our hair enough. So in the summer, when we're sweating and we're swimming and we're doing all of these things, we don't actually end up cleansing our hair the way that we should. This is something that I know for me personally, I'm very hesitant to be lathering up my hair in shampoo or any kind of cleanser, because I feel like my natural hair oils make it rock. I have experienced over shampooing and the effects of that, so I want to avoid that sometimes, and sometimes I go way too long without cleansing. In order to remove all of that sweat buildup, all of that product buildup, all of that chlorine water, the salt water, you want to make sure that you're removing those things and not letting it just simmer and marinate on your hair. That's one thing I would definitely recommend, is using a great product buildup remover, some sort of gentle cleanser that you can use regularly on your hair, and not in a way that is just once a month or something like that. You want to make sure that you're actually cleansing your hair in really the best way possible. The last mistake that we all make, which is honestly I'm guilty of so many times, but that is not detangling enough. So I made a video recently on detangling hair, which you guys can check out. But when we go through the summer, a lot of the times we avoid detangling the way that we should. And so the issue with not detangling the way that we should is that a lot of those times those knots and tangles come back to haunt you. I guarantee it, because when you're putting your hair in a bun every day because it's way too hot to have it loose, and you're not making sure to detangle your hair, those knots are just there, and they're getting worse with the heat, with the sweat, with the swimming. They're getting worse that way. So when we go swimming especially, it makes it so much more worse, so much more worse. It makes it worse. And then what ends up happening when we do detangle our hair is that a lot more effort is required, firstly, and secondly, we end up making our hair a little bit more vulnerable to breakage and a little bit more vulnerable to shedding and to hair loss and all that stuff, because we're ripping our hair and trying to get those tangles out, which, girl, I know can be the only struggle. So definitely, if you guys are not sure as far as the best ways to detangle hair, make sure to check out that video that I have on the channel. I will link it in the description below. And to actually make sure to detangle your hair, I would even recommend to do it every time you wash your hair. Not shampoo, but every time you wet your hair, just make sure to run your fingers through your hair, just to ensure that you're not allowing tangles and knots to build up on your scalp and make the detangling process a lot harder and a lot more aggressive with your hair. I know a lot of girls tend to go natural over the summer compared to the rest of the year. This is something that I wish I had known when I first went natural. Really, my first years of being natural were over the summer, because over the summer you don't need to be going to the salon, you don't need to be straightening your hair. So I know a lot of you guys that are going natural this summer or maybe next summer or whenever it is, these will be great tips and methods for you to ensure that your hair is growing the way that it should. Talk to me in the comments below, guys, if there's anything that you guys do over the summer when it comes to your hair. I'm so willing to learn more tricks, because even though I'm coming in front of this camera and talking to you guys about tips and tricks for summer hair care, I definitely need some help sometimes too with my hair, because, girl, I be struggling sometimes. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in for this video. If this was helpful to you, give this video a like. I would so much appreciate it. And make sure to subscribe if you have not already, to be part of the family here. And I'll see all of you lovely people in the next video.